Bold, cheeky, flashy, Gallus. Okay, let's see how this works. I'm not the best at video yet, so this might be completely out of focus. It might also be shite. But I do have a good lighting setup, and it's called my window. So who needs a £200 light? Or a £500 light? Or a whatever how much folk are willing to pay for equipment light when you can use the sun, the mighty sun, in the palm of my hand. We have water as well because I need to give the Red Bull a buy or I will die by the time I'm 35. So we've got that, and I've also had lots of caffeine today already. I had a Pro Plus, I had that like Warrior Pro pre-workout, fucking deadly. We have the trash corner, which has random stuff in it, and I love this corner because it has this rock. It's got Great Trains of the World coasters. So we've got we have the Flying Scotsman coaster. It's Sunday Market. It's a gold mine. I love the Sunday Market. We have a Tennant's pin. This will be very relevant for later. You get the idea. It's full of stuff, and it's stuff that means a lot to me. One would say. So this is kind of a test. This section, it might be in the final cut. It might not be, but I'm gonna check because I better not be out of fucking focus. Ooh, wait. And I believe we are good to go. I did check, and as far as I'm aware, I'm in focus. If I'm not, then tough. Today it's just me, my good self. My name is Joshua, or Josh, whatever you want to call me. I say that all the time now because everyone who knew me from when I was really young to the age of like 15, just that bracket of people that met me at that time called me Josh. And then for some reason, when I was 16 onwards to like today, it's like been a mix. So actually people just call me Joshua, which is fine, absolutely fine. Dandy even. Well, I think it's because I made the name like kind of official, because it just sounds like it sounds better when it's Joshua White Photographer than Josh White Photographer. I don't know if that's just me being weird. But the name Josh White, just with the one word, it is infamous. So yeah, we'll stick with that. And this is just a wee solo podcast, because Gallus Podcast made out of many things, but specifically a main topic, side tangents, and that's about it. But this podcast is going to be basically that. But since it's me we're talking about, and we don't have Ryan next to me to basically signal me to shut the fuck up when I'm on a side tangent that's been going for far too long, this podcast might be very long. But since it's me, I need to tell myself to shut the fuck up when I've been talking on a side tangent for far too long. And, well, this one's a bit overdue because, I did the HND course last year and it finished in June this year. And this year is about to end. So I thought it would be a goal at least to get this podcast recorded and finished and uploaded either by the end of this year or at the beginning of 2026. So I've put it out in the universe, I guess. The HND Photography experience. Now, where do I begin? I guess we could all begin on the 6th of June, 2024. I won this. The HNC Photography course ended with me winning this Ron McLean award. I'm still extremely happy that I won this because, didn't really see it coming. It's like, I wouldn't say it's like the most prestigious award in the world that could get me, to all sorts of places. But it is just a nice sentimental trophy to basically just be like, yeah, you did well in the course. You put in the work. You truly showed you showed something, hence why I won this. And I always look at it still every now and then to basically, if I feel maybe unmotivated, or if I feel, it's sad, or like if I feel like I'm in this kind of stump, like this rut, even, I've always got this to look at and basically be like, well, you won this for a reason, and well, like just chose this for me for a reason. So, it's got to mean something. So that's why this trophy means a lot. This is what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be me talking about this course, but also just might get existential. I don't know. We'll see. So, we start with the end of HNC Photography, where I win this, and we went to the pub that night. We went to Spoons, and I think Harley's for like 2 games of pool, and we went to the last bus home because it was dire. It was a Thursday. I thought it was going to be even, but no, it was shite. So we just went home, and then spent the summer just doing all sorts. I went and took photos of the football because this is what I've been starting to be doing at this time. After taking photos with Maple Juniors Football Club, and well, it was the summer, and I was working in Dino's, so I had pretty much every Saturday morning and afternoon off. You're starting to see where this is going to get to. So I've always had that kind of opportunity to take photos of football, to always just practice. Rain or shine, I was there. There'll probably be some photos shittily popping up right about now, but they're all on my Instagram page as well. Most of the photo shoots that I talk about today, they're all pretty much going to be on my page. I'll say if they're not, but we'll get to them when we get to them. That's pretty much all I remember, really. And I just kind of I did a wedding as well, actually. I did a wedding in, I think it was April-ish time. So that was before I won the award. It was my first wedding, and it went alright. It was pretty good. Obviously, it wasn't like the most extravagant wedding in the world, but that's the kind of weddings that I like. Weddings just at a bowling club. It doesn't have to be at some big fucking church with like the sun beaming in through with the stained glass, shining out. Like, you don't need that all the time. Sometimes it's just the nice smaller weddings that they just want to get it done and by with, and it's just a good time, and that's exactly what happened with the 2 weddings that I shot during that time. And well, pretty much fast forward to about, when was it? August, we'll say. August time. I'm going to actually look up my page because I can't access it on my phone or something, on my laptop. So we're going to access it on my phone. Because this isn't scripted at all. We're just doing this. So yeah, we're gonna go back. Yes. So college begins. And well, I think the day before the first day of HND, we were actually out in Glasgow doing an escape room, and I'm pretty sure it was Bittersweet. If Ryan's ever watching this, he can correct me in the pub or something. But I think it was Bittersweet. We did it during like the end of August last year, and we went to the good old Spoons afterwards. Had a couple of Blue Moons, and we went home. And then I wake up the next morning, ready to begin the HND course with everyone. And well, it was just like pretty much where the HNC course, or like the environment, and all just where like picked up exactly where it left off after not being there for like 3 months. We had pretty much everyone that I knew was back. All of my classmates were back. I think there was a few that didn't turn up for HND, which is fair enough because they had different commitments, other things, other interests. That's very fair. But most of them came back, and well, again, pretty much it was set in stone that this course is like more, basically. HNC was just the beginning, I suppose. I didn't do level 6, I did higher in school, which I don't think was a very good idea because, well, it both the level 6, they're both level 6 courses. So I thought I was up my own arse when I chucked myself into the deep end with HNC. And you know what? It kind of worked. But I probably could have done with another year. And I could have been doing HND right now, but that doesn't matter. And I was like a bit worried. I was like, wow, HND, whoo, getting the shivers, because we were all kind of intimidated, I suppose, at the start. And then 3 days later, it's just exactly how it was. Always. September 2025. What did I get up to? I didn't get up to much other than just college. So we had plenty of stuff to get up to. But the deadlines weren't next week. It was oh, you've got a month. And we have a couple of things to do. And that's great. So I was on a roll. Advanced image editing. This was one of the units what the guy taught us, and it was I it was fine. It was one of those I learnt the most. It was one of those courses that I did kind of learn the most because, well, it's Photoshop. Photoshop is an endless rabbit hole. There's probably things the best Photoshop expert in the world probably still hasn't found out yet about Photoshop. So it was pretty fun we got a couple of we got a sample one to begin with, where it's basically we've all got these exact 3 images, but you make your own kind of thing out of it. And for this one, it was Winter Storm, and it was basically a picture of Gary sitting on top of a hill, and an abandoned plane, I think it was, that was crashed, and well, a stormy, well, it was a very snowy landscape. So I forgot where it was. It's up north or something. And well, we did that, and I was wow, because we kind of taught myself a wee bit, and there was obviously guidance on good old Teams and MS Teams. So there'll probably be something popped up now, but everyone had kind of something a bit different to offer, which kind of showed everyone's just we're all on the same wavelength. There's just those tiny differences, that's what I liked about college, is that I got along with pretty much everyone because we were all on the same wavelength, and well, but we're all different in that sense that we could take photos completely differently, and we were all learning that together. That sounds cheesy as fuck, that's why I said it like that. So I'm just going to go over, I think most of the compositions that I did was just random things. So I got my mum and dad's car, and I just went and took photos of that, and then I went to the woods in the autumn after the gym. I remember this day, we went to Benefit, went to Tim Hortons, then the gym. It was a really good day, and this was early in the morning anyway. So I was right, I'm just going to take some photos, run about the joint, so I can just get some stuff for the image editing course. And did some editing with the car inside the woods. It was a big gap in Castle Hill Woods. I thought it'd be perfect to sit it there in Photoshop. And then I got some samples of sample photos of leaves and all different shapes, and I made sure to get some of them in the foreground in blood. So that was kind of useful to get that. I really enjoyed that exercise. Well, if I can find it, I can show it. The only problem with that one is that the reflection in the car window is still intact from the original one, so that was kind of that was that kind of mistake. I was oh shit. That's why you've got to be careful with image editing, especially if you're doing pure composites like that. There's a reason why it's called advanced image editing. The image editing course in HNC was just general image editing, workflow, batch editing, how to use the sliders, how to do, what's that fucking thing called? Frequency separation for headshots and portraits, things like that. But with advanced image editing, this is composites. and like stitching 3 images together to creating this grand thing. So there's a reason why it's advanced. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this one. I think the last one that I can remember was Centre Parks. Because we'll get to Centre Parks. Oh, we will get to Centre Parks. If it's not been talked about already, to death on the podcast. And we will never get tired of talking about it to death on the podcast. It's about Centre Parks 1 and 2. We talk about it all the time. And I will be talking about it again. But anyway, I was there when we were there. This was like November. I ended up taking some photos of like just the general, like at night time. It would always be at night time. And we'll get to that. We'll get to it as the famous quote from me every time. We'll get to it. We'll save it. We'll save it for later. Save it for the end, if they will. And I went to Brazil a couple of times to take photos of the kind of bamboo structures of like characters that aren't there anymore because some fannies thought it was a good idea to, I think, set them on fire or like vandalise them at least. Yeah, fuck yous, whoever did that. And yeah, I got some photos of them before they went in the bin, and I composed them together. You know, I think my white balance was off. I think that was pretty much the only complaint because I was using like the shadows, like because there was only the one light source in those that photo from Centre Parks. You might hear the wind. That's another thing. You might hear the wind because the microphone's just a free microphone, so you might hear anything. Anyway, the lamppost had light. It was like light inside it, so when it came out, it was like, you know, just learning the directions of shadows and light and stuff like that. That was a good exercise for that. The other two, I don't really remember, if I'm honest. I know there was 5 composites we had to do, but I just don't remember. So we're gonna like advanced image editing as a course, as a unit. It was pretty good because like I know like it was kind of stressful and it was kind of very much out of my kind of, you know, league, if you will. It was kind of out of my comfort zone very much, but that's the kind of things you've got to do. You've got to always try something new, whether that's editing or shooting some videos. So, you know, this is like the 3rd video is the kind of thing I've ever done on this. So, you know, there's a thing there. And I was quite happy to have learnt something for each of these 3, you know, exercises for this unit. So thank you, Gary. Fucking legend. We're going to go back to September because we're doing this like kind of in order. And again, I don't know how long this is going to take. We went to street level, went to Glasgow. Now, this was, I don't know when this was in September, but we ended up going to street level at Trongate. We did this a couple of times last year, and I'm pretty sure it was, I think Simon Murphy was there. The great Simon Murphy, from the one who did the project about Govan Hill. I look up to this project very much because it's something that, well, I'm inspired by his work very much, you know, because, well, insert project that's I will talk about later that I'm still very much desperate to do, but it's just going to take its time, and that's fine. But that project, I'm inspired by Simon Murphy's work, you know, to do this project that I'm doing. So it's just going to have to take its time. May not be for a while, but it is what it is. I had to be chat with the guy as well. Really nice guy. I think there was another thing that was on. I'm looking through my gallery now, and it was like, I think they were all just kind of chosen. I think it were Glasgow students, I think, and they were all presenting it and like on the walls in different ways. So there was one where like they were all the photos were in boxes, and it was like kind of like weird looking. It was pretty cool. Then you had like one in like a scroll kind of thing. You roll it down, and there it was. It was pretty cool. Then you had this one. This is probably one of my favourites. It's like they're all presented in like these really old frames, and they're all like blue tinted. So you've got like one that's like if a woman uses for like someone with do her makeup or something, just a tiny wee mirror like that. There's a photo in that. Really cool. So that's the kind of thing that we did. And then we went and got donuts and did street photography. Because Kim really hyped up this place called Doe in Glasgow. Like hyped it up for like a year straight. We're gonna go to this place. It's fucking brilliant. And you know what? It was a donut, and it was really, really nice. So thanks, Kim, for recommending that place to us. And we did some general street photography. It's a fun trip. I did enjoy the good old Glasgow trip because, well, we all just kind of separated after that, and we would just meet each other. Sorry, my nose is kind of runny. We would always kind of separate and just kind of meet each other during like the rest of the day, because we would all just kind of go and do our own thing, or we go in kind of groups to go for lunch, all that stuff. It was pretty, I enjoyed those days, September, I turned 19. I don't really remember what I did on my 19th. I don't even know if I did anything. What did I do on my 19th? Ryan would remember. I think we probably just went out for No, we went to the Welly. That's what we did. Went to the Welly bar. Because I couldn't be asked doing much. I think we went to Skints. No, that was the 26th of August. So that was when we met Adam Toner and Oliver Runley. Brilliant folk. Yeah, there's no much else. There's fuck all that I did on my birthday. We went to Harley's probably. There is a video of Aaron in the Smoking Goat singing Don't Look Back in Anger, masterpiece. And then college, obviously. So we get, this is the big boy units now. This is when the proper photo shoots happen. I'm going to just quickly check how long I have left on this recording. 10 minutes, right, that's fine. It's just because I think I have to record them in half an hour, increments, and then just continue recording them. So it's just so that I don't end up yapping to a camera that's not even recording. So about 8 minutes. I'll keep track of the time. So we get presented with the fashion unit. So HND, we got portraiture, stuff in the studios, lighting setups, outdoors. We got a good variety of stuff. And this year technically last year, but HND it was more narrowed down because it was fashion. So it was all about the clothes, all about mixing your portraiture skills and clays. And as someone who wears the same jacket almost every day like a cartoon character, I was kind of being because I'm not good at fashion. But it was actually really fun. The first project that we did was coastal couture. Coastal something. It was coastal themed, so it was outdoor theme, you had to shoot outside, and it was either at the beach or a cliff outside, where all the water is. Basically, as long as it's at the coast, next to the water, kind of aesthetic theme, location thing. That was the general idea, and it was for kind of a magazine cover. So I ended up getting my good model, who's really good at modelling, and he's also just a sound guy in general, Freddie Boy. I'll get the photos up shortly, or whenever I feel like it actually. But I just thought, the clothes didn't matter. It was just obviously good clothes, to advertise the clothes, to it's for a magazine. So I was right, Freddie, you wear really classic vintage clothes. And then he was that's totally fine. And we went in there. It was a very, very warm day. I was fucking swelter. This was before I could drive as well, so I was really, really desperate to drive, because I actually started driving this month as well, lessons. So it was just the beginning. And well, Freddie was a great model as always. My favourite one is the final one that I've got in 16:9. Where it was just this kind of it wasn't even by the water. It was at the beach, Ayr Beach, next to the pier. But it was mainly kind of the grassy kind of the bit with the long grass and the big black box looking thing. Which did definitely count. And we went down the pier as well, but there was a couple of shots I wasn't too happy with. And this was the first time I actually used fill-in flash for or one of the first times that it kind of worked, and I kind of figured that it kind of clicked how fill-in flash works. which was, again, good learning curve. I learned how to do fill in Flash. I'm still not, like, obviously I'm still getting better at that, but, I was like, got the idea, general idea of it, and Freddie was, well, same as fuck, as always. We'll get the photos up, just, they're all like, I'm going to just pop the photos up as if it's some shitty PowerPoint, aka the thing that I'm reading right now, which is just a PowerPoint, so I don't forget, and I'm in the straight and narrow. Freddie, boy, great shoot, the door is knocking. Oh, he's getting it, it's fine. Graduation. Now, I didn't go to the graduation for my graduating from HNC. It's a postman. So, graduation happened. There was a couple of people that went. Steve and Luciano went. I don't really remember anyone else in my class that went to graduate from HNC. So, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll wait till HND finishes, and then I can, properly graduate. Because that's the thing you do at the end. And I was just that confident I would pass HND. So it was before that I was in the studio just dating my stuff, and I think Kim and Lee were going. They were going to go there, attend. So they were dressed nicely, and Neil was just floating about because it's Neil. We always liked Neil for that reason. We just floated about, talked a lot of stuff. He just talked about all sorts, and we would have lovely conversations, lengthy conversations at that. It's another thing I'm going to get into later. Might just sprinkle it in throughout this course, but like the communication and like the chats and the just general conversations I would have so useful, but also it's just like a blather. Like that's why college was so fun, because I would just come in, I'd do work, and I would also just maybe spend an hour, even at the end when everyone is left, going home to jack off or something. I'm sitting here talking to Gary about life, all sorts. That's the kind of stuff that I miss in college. But anyway, we were just talking, and well, I think Kim was doing a wee demonstration on a lighting setup, for if you were taking photos of graduation students, and I was you could have two, I was helping as well. You could have two 45-degree lights, general. No, don't overthink it. Overhead, maybe a wee reflection at the bottom. That's kind of simple enough. And I got a nice wee shot of Kim, Lee, and Neil just doing the smiling away at the camera. Charlie's Angels kind of style. Because I wanted Neil in the middle. Because I'm pretty sure Kim and Lee were dressed the same colour, and then you just had Neil in red, which was great. He wasn't going to the graduation, but it was quite fun. That was a fun time. That was a fun shoot. I'm pretty sure that wraps up September. I don't really remember too much else. I've still got my notes of all of the deadlines. Yeah, that's a lot. Yes, not too much to happen in September, but I have went on for about half an hour. So I might have to hurry, or I might just do it at my own pace. I don't know. I don't give a shit. Yeah, this is when I'm gonna turn it off and turn it back on. We're gonna get to October, guys. October. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. Right. Okay. So apparently it separates them into 5-minute videos. I don't know why. It should be fine. That's funny. So October was a month where apparently, according to my PowerPoint, not much TBH. So I'm going to assume that nothing much happened. Research. There was a lot of research, basically. You always get those research tasks and you're like, we'll get them done. I just got them pretty much all done and by with. This was the start of my graded unit as well, at the very end of September. So they got that done. I was like, guys, right, graded unit, research, let's get cracking, just like George Surgeon would say. And I decided I was kind of thinking for a good while what I was going to do my graded unit on, because I was thinking about this in the summer, and I thought, because it's all about if you're shooting for a photographic, agency, if you had this one genre, if you had this one speciality, basically, for an agency, who would you shoot for? What genre would it be? Present your photos. And for me, it was football. Well, it would be sport, but the best one I could get access to in that situation was football. We baseball juniors, of course, and it would be SNS group that I would research, which would be very useful as well for later on, because I was actually able to kind of change the research slightly, because you've got your kind of logbook kind of thing, or your evaluation, if you will. So there was actually things that added onto the research as I went along the course, which really helped, because I thought it was kind of weak, my research, researching a bunch of photographers for in the SNS group for action shots, team photos, celebration photos, documentary, journalism, all that stuff. And I had a really good time in Waterstone's cafe all the time, spending a fortune on coffee, and just sitting there doing research, and it was really good. But it was research, and no one really likes it. See, I like research now when I'm just on my own. But see when you have to research something, they're like, research, I'm like, no, but it's got to be done, and it does help. So, I'm not chatting shit about that. It's just one of those things that you have to do, and well, it's like it does help. So, but we don't like it's just the discipline of doing it. There is one shoot though. Godly shoot. Legends still speak of this. Blue Moon. So we get the brief of advertising / video. So Gary's did the video editing, the video kind of brief, and one of the shoots for advertising kind of just mixed into one. So we're killing two birds with one stone. This is why we love Gary. And I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna do beer, because I love beer. And if I wasn't already drinking tonight, I would have been doing or driving even. Like driving, I'm driving somewhere, and then I'll be drinking once I drop the car off and go on the bus, of course. So if I wasn't doing that, I'd be doing a wee piss takes, piss takes mini, but I have water right here, which is what I'll do the now. So we have Blue Moon. Blue Moon, I fucking love Blue Moon. We reminisce fondly of Blue Moon, because we don't really have it in the town at all. But see, when we do get a Blue Moon in Prestwick or Glasgow, oh, it's heavenly. It's heavenly. This is the first pint with the lads as well, because me, Ryan and Callum went out to bloody Crumbs and Cocktails, had a Blue Moon, because this was me that didn't know what beer was that much, and then we went to bloody the Smoke and Go, Spoons, Spoons and Smoke and Go. Good night. But I thought I'm going to take some nice photos of Blue Moon, because I kind of knew already how the physics worked with it. Like, it's a wheat beer, it's very thick, it diffuses very, if light shone onto it from the if light shines onto it from the back, it's not going to refract, if that makes sense. It's very cloudy, so it's just going to kind of stay there, just kind of like a cloud on the sky, lack of shadows and stuff. So it was actually very easy to shoot. And a wee beer to start off, before I learned that lager exists, and shooting lager is a pain, for me at least, because I'm still learning. That was it was a really good shoot, because I don't know what I did first. I think I did the video first, because that was the thing that was needed first. So we did the video. It was the 24th of October. It was a good day. It was a good morning. We had a couple of folk as well from the the two courses below me, and well, we're just kind of chatting away as well. It was really good. And well, they kind of helped a wee bit as well with the the shoot, with pouring a glass. And, I got that done. It's not the best video in the world, but I'll show it, I guess. Roll it. That should be the video finished. So that was that video, and I really enjoyed it. As it'd be like a 30-second advert on whatever it was you were shooting. So I thought I would, get practice Premiere Pro. Practicing Premiere Pro was quite fun as well. That was a good spell for a bit, where I was just like, well, how does this work? Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna use that. So as well as a fade-ins, thinking that was like the bollocks. And like this camera wasn't steady either sometimes, so it was just me in the studio holding the gun like this, trying to get the shot in of the beer pouring in, and it was really fun. And what happened after that? Prague. Yeah, Prague. And all caps as well. Prague. So Prague was genuinely like a fever dream. Magical. Amazing. My hair was shit. It's the only thing I'll complain about my trip to Prague, because all my photos I'm pretty much bald. But it was such a good trip. Me, Ryan and Callum, for 4 days, just immersing ourselves in a completely different place that we might never go to again, or if we do go to, it's probably with our future wives or whatever, which I'm down for either or. Because I'd love to go to Prague again. Prague was so good. And, well, I just taken some photos. There was like a couple of photojournalism briefs. There was like 8 briefs or something. It was fucking mental. And one of them was like about like modern technology, I think. So I thought I would mix in, because I went to Prague and there was so many trams, cars, like I even like kind of I would consider like old technology. One would say it's a bit of a stretch, but then at the same time I'm seeing e-scooters, e-bikes that you can just tap your card for like 300 crowns or however much, like a couple of pound is in Prague, and you can just go for like 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and everyone, it was all in harmony. Like no one crashed. Like there's I don't know if e-scooters are banned here in Scotland, but they definitely aren't used as widely and accessibly as in Prague, and I was really impressed. So I thought I'd make a wee project about that. Which the photos weren't great. I'm not going to show them, but the photos that I just got in Prague just by going about and shooting away, beautiful. Which I'll kind of show. These are never seen before images coming from me. I never uploaded them for some reason. I got a photo of like a panorama of the National Museum, which was brilliant, but that was the only thing that I uploaded, and I just kind of forgot to upload the rest. So you might see them one day. Well, you'll see them now, but on my page one day. But I really enjoyed Prague, so good. And we came back on Halloween. And then immediately after, I get home at like 9, half 9. I was kind of tired. I eat some fucking barbecue ribs, amazing. Go to bed. Up for college the next morning. I'm up as bright as a button. The adrenaline's still going. And that was when I was informed about a guy called Scott Nicole. I hope that's how you pronounce your surname, mate. He was doing a wee gig in Notion in the Toon. So I just thought, alright, okay, I'm gonna, they were looking for people to do a kind of paparazzi style sort of shoot. So I thought, I'll plump this in with one of my photojournalism briefs. Because you can do, I think there was a snap brief. So it was like, you've got like a week to do this brief. No exceptions. And I'm like, well, there it is, perfectly. Right there. So I did. And it was a really good gig, and it was probably one of the best, probably my best photos, one of them at least. It was, because I know half the lighting's basically done for you, but when it came to gigs, it's I try and make it as unique as I can. So even when the music wasn't even playing, I was still trying to shoot away with high ISO. I got this really nice shot of one of the singers. I don't know your name, I'm sorry, but she was really good, and she had basically took photos of their shadows because lighting again was done for you technically. Ryan could go on a nice wee tangent about it on another podcast one day, but that's when one of their shadows was pure out in the wall, and I got a shot of there. It was brilliant. And for the rest of November, it was lots of photojournalism. So world of work. I went to the Toon, got some snaps of the fruit stand that you'll always see in our high street. It's always the same 2 blokes or 3, just selling fruit and veg, fresh as fuck. Brilliant. Not great photos, if I'm honest. Technology, that was one in Prague, I think. Yeah. Urban, I don't remember this one, if I'm honest. I think it was urban landscapes or something. I genuinely don't remember. Now, this this reminds me. The Creative Industries unit. Now, this was a unit that was very, I was very mixed about, because it was, it was stuff related to photography, but it was also other things. And I'm But the one thing that I really didn't like doing was the distance photo shoot. Distance photo shoot, right? So, back when COVID was happening, photographers used, I don't even know the name of the app anymore. I downloaded it for half an hour to do this shoot, and that was it. But it was this app where someone can basically take control of your phone, your phone's camera, from a different location. So no, I can take control of their phone camera on a different location. So that's basically what I did. I was in the college front door. I hope you don't hear this, Kim. I'm sorry. I got a good friend Grace and her friends to basically go to the woods next to the college, kind of down where the UWS is, and I controlled Grace's camera through my phone, if that makes sense. And I got a photo of her friend Jax doing some stupid shit with the leaves or something, I don't know. I'll show it now. That's what I got out of it. Because the signal was terrible as well, so I had to just kind of do it. I guess it was fun in the moment. The lead up to it, I was oh my god, can't be bothered. And well, it was alright. It turned out fine. I got the photo. It was fine. I wasn't gonna be right, you go to this next room and you just take the photo. I wasn't gonna do that, because I would feel cheap. I would feel that. But I thought, I don't know anyone from Australia that I can do this with. So I just thought, right, just go far away enough so that I genuinely don't know. I know kind of the surrounding area, but I can't see you. So I think it still counts, I'd say. What else happened in November? We'll get to this after the denim shoot. Well, so this is the brief tour of fucking fashion. Brief tour of fashion. And it's all about denim. So we have to get our model to wear denim and show the denim in its perfect flexibility and habitat or something. This was the first. You could do it outdoors. I think it was in studio only. Never mind me. I think it was in studio only, and your model had to wear denim. So, friend at the time, Madison, I got her to wear double denim, basically. I didn't know anyone else with a denim jacket. She happened to have one, so I was right, denim jacket on, denim jeans, and I think it was a pixie, it had little pixie what's that band called? Pixies, I think. And I had like stamps. Fucking. What the hell are they things called again? The thing that I genuinely Apaches. That's it. How did I forget that? How did I even not know a word? So we did that. So it was like good, like just showing off the patches, showing off the actual denim itself, like the texture of it. Shot them mostly in black and white, like some of them, but the ones that were in colour, I had like it was like vibrant blue, and I know blue is quite like blue and green are those kind of colours where like if you have to really be delicate about, when it comes to like, upping that colour. Because it could just end up looking terrible. Like, for example, a very blue sky. Like, you don't want to up the blue too much or it'll just look like hish. Or you don't want to make the grass look too bright because it's going to look very neon green. I think Kim had a crash out one time about neon green. That was a funny crash out. That was one of those fun conversations that we had. And, well, anyway, that denim shoot was really good because I had... The lighting setup was really good as well. I had like a beauty dish above me, so it was shining down on the model, and 2 lights behind her, so it would actually like shine on her hair and like behind the denim, and then obviously 2 reflectors in like 1 each beside me, so that there would just be some kind of general fill-in, and it was again turned out very, very successful, and the model was fantastic as well. So yeah, there's not much else to say about that. We also did a class crit. It was the only one we did, like for the fashion unit, where we had to print out our photos and show them out, and then we would all go about the table and then write sticky notes about like, oh, I like this part of the photo, this could have been better, general funny comment, haha. So there's things like that, and that was quite fun. I enjoyed that because I got to see everyone else's stuff, and well, they got to see mine, and I got to get some constructive criticism. And well, after that was by, went to Edinburgh. Well, I went to Edinburgh because my man John Lee from Edinburgh College, he came to Ayrshire College and he talked about the Edinburgh College course because he knew, because we all knew that we were all going somewhere after college, after this course. So he was giving us a good like overview basically about the Edinburgh College BA Honours course. And I was really tempted at first, and I'll explain why as to things are the way they are now. But I had a chat with him about sports photography, and he was like, right, see if you can, I think this was his own words, if you can get your ass down to Edinburgh College at 9 a.m. on the 13th of November, you can listen to Ross Parker from SNS Group talk about his experiences with sports photography, and I'm like, I'm in. So I got the shift swapped, brilliant. I woke up at 4:30 so I could get at 6 o'clock, X77, Glasgow, 7 o'clock-ish train to Edinburgh, and then the fucking tram to the college. Yeah, that was some travel. That was brutal. But we made it there for 9, and it's Ross Parker, sound as hell. He was talking about a lot of stuff. I was like panically like writing everything, asking loads of questions because, well, I'm not going to take this opportunity to view this guy with the agency that I am studying for my bloody graded unit for granted. So that's what I did, and I had a good chat with him. And that made me kind of like, when I'm shooting football again, I'm like, right, these are the things that if this ends up in the photo, it's not worth it. Things like that. Things that you need to include. I'm just going to check quickly how long I've got left on this recording. 10 minutes, that's fine. Yay. So we did that, and it was just a general great shoot. No, we'll get to the shoot actually, because it was on the same day I came back, and we did Freddie. I was a model for Freddie's film called The Constable, where I was one of the main characters and also the villain, where he was wearing like a mask and like a Polish hat, like a bobby hat, and he had a stick, like a big fucking stick, and I was roasting an outfit, even though it was very, very cold, but it was fun being a killer for a bit, because I was just walking down the high street, down the Sandgate, just looking at cars as they walk by as the constable. Brilliant. This has got nothing to do with the course, by the way. This is just a good time. And well, there was a couple it was a good time. I liked that, but I was knackered. But it wasn't over. I got home at 10ish, and I fell asleep to wake up at 4:30 again, because we were going to Arran. Well, the HNCs at the time were going to Arran, and I was like, "Can I go?" And they're like, "Sure." So yeah, basically we did that, and there was also people that wanted me to go anyway, because I guess I'm just the fucking bollocks. We went to Arran. Grace picked me up. Really appreciate the lift to Barassi, because she was going with her pals into the ferry, because one of her pals was also driving. She was dropping off at Barassi, if that makes sense. So apart from this lift and the ferry, when I get to Arran, I'm stranded. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just winging it. But Victoria McKee, Sailor Wookie on Instagram, like she was one of those students that I kind of spoke to at the time that was dead set, very just as serious as me and Gregor and Martin. That was kind of the very serious people who took the course seriously and was actually actively wanting to learn a lot. So that's what she gave me and two others a lift, and it was eternally grateful for that as well. Thank you. And we just went about Arran. I took some landscape photos. I think I caught a cold halfway during the trip, so I was really out of energy, and I was fuck, because it was such a good chance to get some nice landscape photos and to learn some stuff and to socialise, but I just wasn't in that flow time. By the time it was 3 o'clock, but we got the ferry back at about 5 anyway, and I had a bottle of fucking Arran Blonde. Of course you had to get that, but I didn't know how I was getting home, because obviously I didn't have my car with me, because I didn't have a car, and also my lifts were going two totally separate directions, places. So I got stranded in Ardrossan for a bit until I got the shitty bus to Irvine, and then I walked down Irvine Rivergate Centre myself at 8 o'clock at night, and that was genuinely, if you're walking down that place at that time, the only time I feel fear is that place. Not fun. And then I just got the train home. I think I nearly fell asleep during it, but no, stay up. And then I went home, crashed and slept for about 14 hours and dreamt that I was at my own funeral. I'm not joking. Get your sleep. So that was on the 14th, I think. It was such a good sunset. The sunrise, though, that was such a good... that morning to Arran was brilliant. I'll show you a photo of a panorama that I got as well during sunrise when I got there. Amazing. Centre Parks. What hasn't been said about Centre Parks that's not been said? The fucking cyclone 70 million times in a row. David from Hucks, who didn't take care of us, and his good pal Georgia, who gave Ryan a free blue moon because his plain burger waited an hour to get here. It was surreal. And also the general walks that we went, the Christmas Wonderland, and it was really frosty. It's almost snowy in a way. It was so frosty, but it was so good when you got into the warm pool. I just love Centre Parks. So much. And well, it will always hold a special place in my soul. It's those trips that you have with your pals, That's another one thing. Like, it's those trips you have with your pals, like Prague, Centre Parks 1 and 2, Dublin when we get to it. It's just like, that's when you go to keep your pals, That's that's the kind of group that you stay with, Like, that's when you look at them and you go, damn, there's some good pals right there. Glazing them on the podcast like I always do. And there'll probably be more of that actually, because I don't really do it often, but expressing such gratitude, like to them, I suppose. But yeah, magical time. And well, I just got on with it. Centre Parks 1 happens, and we get to December, which I think I'm gonna do the thing again. I'm gonna turn the camera off, turn back on. This camera's weird. I don't know how to work it sometimes. Okay, that's me back. I basically taken a wee break there because I had to get a light kind of set up. It's not the best, if I'm being honest. It's one of the kind of cheap shite lights, but I thought it'd be useful for this. I've got my Godox perfectly sitting there, but again, I just couldn't be asked. It's just a wee podcast, so I'm just sitting yapping. I'm not using that for photos, fuck that. But anyway, I'm back. I had to find an SD card as well because I've got to actually load everything in. It's taking ages. So I might go a bit of a quicker pace. We'll see. Depends if I keep yapping. Because I've been yapping for an hour and we've just arrived in December. But December, I've already mentioned basically a lot of things that happened in December because, well, I just talked about it and they were all kind of mixed in together, if that makes sense. So I'm reading the laptop from kind of over there now because it's important, but you know the drill. We did the class crit in December, forgot about that, and then handed the denim shoot in. I did the denim shoot in November. So that's what that was. And the video for the Blue Moon, so we've seen that ages ago, but it was kind of, that was a good day as well because I actually vividly remember that day. Because no, it wasn't the video. No, it was the photo. I mean, that's what I was talking about. The photo, which I'll show. I think I've probably only shown it already, but yeah, I shot that, and it was like a Christmas kind of backdrop that was chilling out in one of the studios. So everyone had like tinsel and Christmas jumpers, Christmas hats, and they were all just sitting there, with either taking photos or being the models and stuff. It was one of the busy days in the studio where there was a lot of people in, and there was a lot of people wanting photos just coming in and out. That was one of the good the days that I also really loved, because although you were sitting having a conversation with the lecturers and having a gab and all that, kind of passive days, there was those days where the studios were just so busy because there was either an occasion for it, like Christmas time. It would be kind of advertised, oh, come upstairs to the photography studio, the Riverside building, to get your photo taken. So it'd be those kind of days where 3 of the studios were booked solely for this shoot, and everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be taking turns taking photos, people would be taking turns being a model, people would be coming in. It was one of the things that I really liked. I liked managing it as well, because I was also one of those kind of, I was those kind of ones that always kind of went in from each studio to another just to kind of see what was going on, with consent, of course. Oh, can I come in? And then I come in, I'm going, oh, how are we getting on? As if I'm a teacher, which we'll get to, because, well, there's something, I'd like to talk about it. So yeah, that was a really good day. That architecture unit, I got that done within a couple of trips to Glasgow, which I'll kind of show. There was some that were pretty good, there was some that weren't, but I did learn how to actually because it was always usually with a wide lens you would shoot architecture with. That would kind of distort the photo even more since it was a wide angle, but I learned things like how to actually get rid of those kind of distortions, because make the buildings look up straight, things like that. That was a pretty fun unit. And of course it was Gary that was teaching it, so it was automatically brilliant. And I think for one of my photojournalism briefs, I ended up doing a Whitlets Fix football club. They were doing a Christmas camp sort of afternoon for the Waynes. So they asked me to take photos, and I did. I'm not going to show them just in case, because obviously I've never uploaded them on my page, and they're all like, it's children. So all the parents, there was parents that were there as well, and they're like, that's brilliant, that's fine. I had a couple of parents that were like, no, none of my wedding, please. I'm like, alright, that's fine. They all had like different bibs and looks. So I was like, okay, I'll just match to know who was, who wasn't, like a subject in a photo. But that was pretty fun because it was pissing it rain some of the time. It was absolutely tipping it down for some of it, and it was really, really windy as well. And I got this brilliant shot of one of them just looking at the camera, drenched, bib kind of half on, like looking absolutely miserable, holding a ball next to a net, and that was a really good photo. I'm not going to show it just in case because I don't know that child, but I didn't even send that to the club either because why would they, you wouldn't use a photo like that as a shot to advertise, not to even advertise, just to show the event. Like, you wouldn't do that. But it's just one of the photos that I always looked at and went, that's pretty funny. But that went and happened. I kind of forgot that happened, but I was just looking at the notes. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened, yeah. And just Christmas, full stop. Christmas happened. It was one of the good Christmases because we just were in the house all day. Like, we were just in the house, dinner by 3, and we just chilled the fuck out after that. There was no rush to leave the house. There was no like, oh, we have to get go go do this. No, we just sat in the house, chilled out, just talked about everything, talked about life, got existential probably, and we after this year we will in Christmas get existential and deep, conversations. But that was a really good Christmas. Got a couple other presents as well. They were pretty good. From someone. But those nights out that I had, like before Christmas, they're always the best. They're always the best. I've got plenty this year because we've got the Great Asda Christmas Extravaganza this year on the 12th. We have, like, I'm recording this on like the 6th or something, or the 5th. We've got the Dad minus Callum, of course. God rest Callum. Christmas kind of night out where we're going to go see Love Actually, and then we're going to go see go and do an escape room. That was it. So things like that we did, and kind of heavenly, or we will do. And I've got a birthday today actually, Dominic's. I don't really know him that much. Don't know him too much, but I do know his pal Neve. So I'm invited at the Bell Rock tonight. I have to leave in like 3 hours, so we will be there, and that's why I've got to hurry up with this. No, I won't. I'm just going to keep talking. But it's always those times. It's so good. Love Christmas. The Eileen seahorses as well that I had last year. I'm begging for more of them this year because it's the only time I'll have them. Because they're just these like amazing luxury like chocolates that I'll never have any other time of the year but Christmas, and I'll actually devour them all. Oh, so good. So that's my Christmas kind of rant over. Not even rant, just Christmas full stop. What else happened? Let's take a look at January because New Year's happened. That's funny. There we are. Okay, so that's another thing I meant to forget. At Centre Parks, I was taking photos. I was just taking photos outside and stuff at the dark, which I've shown already. But then I looked on Facebook and I found an advertisement for Harleys in Ayr saying we were looking for photographers, and I just put my name down. I'm like, why not? And then I ended up shooting in Harleys and Skints for like a good chunk of the year, and I still am actually to this day. I'm doing it on Boxing Day, so on Boxing Day I'll be there, even though it already happened by the time this podcast is out officially. So I'm doing it on Boxing Day, and I was doing it every now and then, which I'm quite happy with. But even doing it last year, I did it on New Year's Eve and I did it on Boxing Day. And just a general kind of every couple of Saturdays and Thursdays, because it was Skints and it was it was actually better than being in Harleys and drinking. It still is. So that's what I spent my New Year's doing. Everyone else was in Glasgow in the fucking box or whatever it was, while I was in Harley's watching everyone else get pished. You know what I didn't mind? I didn't mind at all. I actually enjoyed it because there was folk that I knew that were out anyway, so I was just having a good blather with them, taking photos. That's literally all you need. Like a good blather and taking photos. It's exactly how you like have a college day. That's what I spend usually some of my time doing in Harley's, taking photos. Like if I'm there from like 11 till 1, a good 45 minutes of that is just spent talking to everyone because I'll know them anyway. So it's a good time. It's a good time. And I still do it, so I'm quite happy. Then the New Year's happens and stuff, and then we're into this year now, 2025. January, not much happened according to my PowerPoint, but we did go to the Grain Exchange in February so that we can do this exhibition, because there's the great exhibition that HNDs do at the end of every year, and I'm like, right, okay, let's do this. So we went to the Grain Exchange, all of us, in Ayr, and we just had a look, just a general scan, just to see how much space there would be, how much the thing would cost, what we need to do to kind of raise funds, like all that kind of stuff. And I was just chatting with Raymond, who the main guy there, and having a good blather as always. I came in a couple of times after that, just because I'm always in the town anyway, so I was having a chat with him. I have plans. But for the now, in February time, this was for the HND exhibition. So everyone got a table each, or like a bit on the wall, depended on what you wanted, how you wanted to present your images and what you had to present. So I just had like, I'm skipping to it half far ahead, but for the now it's just scanning the place. And I also took photos of Tennant's Lager, which the pint itself, because this is another side tangent here, but see the Tennant's Brewery, oh my god, so good. It was every time we go to the Tennant's Brewery, it is never not a good time. It's always a brilliant time. It's always like, usually if we go to a Glasgow night out or day out, if we go to the Tennant's Brewery, it's usually the first thing that we do. Or the second thing. Like after we get some food, after we maybe go see a film, we might go to the Tennant's Brewery, get a couple of pints there, pint of the fresh unpasteurised Tennant's, which is bordering Gallus tier. You heard me right, Ryan. It's bordering Gallus unpasteurised Tennant's at Vix and at the brewery in Troon, that one place in Troon, the Fox, I think. When we go there one day, we're gonna have that, and it's gonna be amazing. And the stout, that's gonna be its own tier, I think. That Tennant stout, since we have it, we don't have it as often, it's going to border there. My Gallus tier eventually, when I do present it, it's going to be so interesting, because it's going to be one of those kind of drinks that you'll not really get it that much. You don't have it that often, because you can't get it that often, but see when you do get it, it is heavenly. Anyway, we went there on Sunday, just there, when we went to the clan wrestling event. Very, very good. I've seen Grado and Ravy Davy, your usual suspects. They were really good. Anyway, Tennant's Brewery. So, this was when it was the dads still. So it was me, Daniel, Ryan, and Callum, and we went to the brewery. Did the tour without Callum. Actually, we did the tour without Callum because he was working. Fuck. But we did go after that, like a week later, sometime later, and brought Callum just to go to the bar and enjoy the stout, which was amazing. And I was like, this could do with a bit of my photography. So, not the stout. I tried my best, right? And I've got ideas, but the three main bottles that we bought, not even part of the flight. The beer flight when you finish the tour, but you get you can have the IPA, the Indian Pale Ale, of Tennant's, in a bottle. We bought them online, so that was like the kind of main three that we got. It was the Indian Pale Ale, the Scotch Ale, and a Tennant's Extra. No, actually, we kind of split it, but it was a certain amount of the Scotch ale and a certain amount of the extra, but I just bought one of the Indian Pale Ale so that I can take a photo of it. That was it. And I did it in the studio, and this was one of the like good bottle shoots that I did. Because, well, the bottles were kind of like that same kind of colour anyway. And I learned, like how, like, that's probably one of the biggest shoots I kind of learned how light works. Because I had like at least 3 lights and I got reflection in front of like the subject. And it's been so meticulous with it. Maybe I was being too meticulous with it because, well, you know, you don't want to be too pernickety about it or else you're going to get nothing done. So I do remember that day. I did a shit I botched it like hell. It was not good. The first shoot, and I went and imported them, and I went, these are fucking terrible, and I was actually crashing out to like Rosa and John and whoever else was in that bloody class, even to Gary. I'm like, these are shit. So you know what I did? I just stomped back in that studio within about 3 minutes, set everything back up in a fit of rage for myself, and then I nailed it because I knew exactly what had to be done, and it turned out brilliantly. I don't remember what exactly it was that made it not good, but it was definitely something. It was maybe the labels at the front maybe not being lit up enough, so maybe I had to even bring in my external flash just to, like on slave mode, just for it to go off. Or it might have been the fact that the polarizer, like I didn't use the polarizing filter to kind of filter out some of the glare. It would maybe have been something like that. But even having the 2 black borders, kind of, because I bought like black foam, so that there would be something to show on the bottle, if that makes sense. You'll be able to see it when it's on screen. But that was a really fun shoot, even though I crashed out halfway through because I was getting so frustrated. But it worked out very well, and I was like, right, because this is all part of the advertising unit. And yeah, so I did that with I did a pint of tenants as well, but I think I deleted the full shoot after I submitted it because it was really bad. It was not good. I didn't like it. I didn't add that. It wasn't a good shoot. Because again, this was what I was talking about earlier with lager. Lager's it's very thin, I guess you could say. It's like, if light goes through it, you can see everything behind it. You know what I mean? You can still see the lettering behind on the back of the glass refracting, if that makes sense. So there was lettering on there, and it didn't look good. It didn't look like triumphant, like a pint of tenants should look. So it just didn't look good. And I realised, this is actually harder to photograph like very pernickety beers like lagers as it is for like a wheat beer. Because even though you're on a ticking time bomb with beer, wheat beer it's like a shorter amount of time for that head to just go down like that and get flat. But I just managed just fine. Though with tenants, it can be, or just any other drink, it can be annoying. And I'm trying my best to get some kind of studio set up in here so I can do this again. But it ain't going to be easy. So I might do with what I could do in the studios in the college. And well, those bottles were great. And I'd also, again, it's all a learning curve at the end of the day. And that's something that I probably should have figured out when I was like doing the HND course, because of course there was always the impending doom of I'm leaving college very soon. What's the next step forward? That was always the worrisome bit, because I was always too scared, I guess, of change. I was always like really worried about what was going to happen, like whether that was because after school everything changed. What's going to happen when I leave school? I'm going to go to college, but is everyone going to like me? Am I going to be good? Am I going to keep my friends? Am I going to keep my relationship? Like, most of those things stayed. The relationship didn't, but it kept my pals. I'm so glad. Keep your pals, alright? Just keep them always. Always have them. And if you, because I was so worried in case I would lose them when I left school, but obviously that didn't happen. Still, obviously, best pals with all of them, so I couldn't be, I would rather have that than, I would rather have just that than no pals at all, it's, What? No, I said that wrong. Basically, I'm just very grateful to have pals, right? Where did this... Wait, why did I mention that again? See, this is a good Josh Whiteside tangent here, getting all deep. But, changing stuff. So it was right, the school time. I was like, I'll be able to keep them. What's college going to be like? Is this and that? And I was so worried, and then college happens, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's absolutely fine. Sure, there's like change in environment and age and life, but everything pretty much is still the same, except I could go to the pub now and wake up for college tomorrow. It's great. This year, though, had lots of change, but I'll get to that, obviously. I'm just checking my... 10 minutes left on there, and I've got stuff to talk about here. Oh yes, March was some month. So, we had... I'll get to the whole change thing, I guess, later on when I mention it, like when the time comes. But for now, it's March, and I don't know, I've been saying this whole time, but I've been doing my graded unit during all these months. Going to games whenever I can on the Saturday. Rain or shine, I'm going there. And but I had a bit of a problem. See, I put in my brief that I had to shoot. I basically set, I wouldn't say unrealistic standards, but standards that were quite hard to meet, because it wasn't my fault that a fucking storm happened and 3 weeks in a row, like, the games got cancelled. And there was like a good month and a half with no games. So I was just like up to Hydo, because there was like the final home game before my graded unit was to be handed in on the 1st of March, and the graded unit was meant to be handed in on the 12th. So I'm sitting there, right, I need to get some headshots, I need to get some more general photos, I need to get these before I can get my prints sent out. And I was, again, up to 11. Never been so stressed ever. But that day of reckoning on that Saturday when we went, I got some final photos of the game, and I got the general kind of headshots, not even headshots, just general portraits, which weren't the best, but they fit the brief, and it was my first time doing it, so we can show them like now. And I was, again, so happy when they got the prints sent out and they came, and I got to put them in the Polly Pocket and hand them in on time, on the day. So glad, because, I still had my evaluation to do and like a presentation. So basically, my evaluation was basically, this was my first time doing these kind of portraits. They're not, I wouldn't say, like, in evaluation, there's definitely so much that could be done better, like applying a larger softbox, because you could actually see at the bottom of one of the portraits that I actually had to brighten up, like, a darkened bit, because the rest of the guys, it's because of the softbox being too small. So, like things like that. And, they left some darkened bits because there wasn't enough spread of light. That was the kind of things that I would say in my evaluation and in my final presentation that got that graded unit up to an A. So I got an A at the end of that graded unit. I got that result in like maybe May, June time, but I was obviously like, I'm probably going to get a B. But I didn't, I got an A, which was great. I got some other amazing shots, celebration photos in the rain. You can show them, general action that you would see in the newspapers or online. Things that SNS Group would be, wanting. That's why the brief is there. That's why I shot these photos, because it's like, this is what SNS Group would want. It's also what I would want as well, but it's especially SNS. And I just kind of had my own spin on it, because everyone's got their own style of photography without even knowing. Like, they don't, like, you don't really, you have your own style just subconsciously. You don't really go out of your way to make a new style. You can, obviously, to elevate your own style, but your style is of photographing, it's just in your blood, I suppose. Like, I can take a look at someone's photo and go, that was Gary that shot that. That was Kim that shot that. Even if it's the same thing, even if it's the same portrait of someone. Like, I can look at a landscape photo and go, that was definitely Gary, because that's his thing. But, like, if Gary took a portrait and if Kim took a portrait, and everyone else and Neil and Lee did that, I'd be able to tell who did it, because everyone's just got that thing to them. It's just that it's like almost subconscious, I suppose. I may be talking shite, but that's why you can tell if someone's photos are there, like, belong to them. And with me, like, I guess I could tell when a photo was mine when it came to the football, like general, like junior football clubs in Ayrshire, like the photographers that shoot for these clubs. I can definitely tell who's who and what ones are mine, and mine's are obviously the better ones, obviously. So yeah, it was quite enlightening. This is the kind of stuff that was going through my brain when I was doing the evaluation. So yeah, graded unit was something else. I'm gonna cut this. So that I can cut this. Yeah. Right, so March. Again. No, hold on, I'm gonna cut this. So after the graded unit, I'm like relieved. I'm like, okay, I've gotten that kind of done, and well, it's just to basically get the rest of the course done. So I've literally got graded unit, hand in, quotes, stress, or in brackets. But another thing that I would actually really, really enjoyed was work placement, because we had this, it was part of the creative industries unit as Kim presented it. And yeah, semester 2 was all about work placement. And it was basically, if you can get someone you can accompany, whether it was like a wedding photographer, for example, you could accompany them to a wedding, and you can have, that's one of your work placement days ticked off, and so on and so on. And then you're experiencing things, you're learning along the way. There's a supervisor there to basically be like, yeah, you're doing it right, or you're doing it wrong. And you basically got to log it all in a little book kind of thing. So my thing that I always really enjoyed as well, if I wasn't taking photos of the football, if I were to do it for a job, it would be teaching or being a lecturing photography. So I just asked Kim straight up, because it actually came totally by chance, because Kim was attending some like thing at Loxley Colour, like the printing place where I printed off my graded unit, actually very good prints. She was like, yeah, I'm going to this seminar on Wednesday, and I totally forgot like that I have this thing, like this thing with the level 5s that same day. Shit, what do I do? And I just looked at it and went, can I do it for my work placement? And she's like, sure, okay. And I'm like, yeah, brilliant. So that's how that got up. So it was like I got like a couple of days where I would, we'll specifically highlight that one Wednesday where the level 5s were in. So basically, I took the register and stuff. I got to know everyone's names, just basically be like, I'm Joshua, I'm doing the work placement, I'm an HND. I'm basically here to kind of supervise you and to, maybe do it like some, to help you out. Basically, they had people coming in, like they had models coming in, like family members, friends, stuff like that, to take in the studios. So I made sure to have 3 studios booked for that, basically full day. 3 lights set up. There was a couple of people helping me. And it was, obviously it was the first time me doing it, but it was kind of more stressful than you might think. Is Neil was obviously giving me some feedback as well just during that time, because they were kind of like outside and I was kind of helping putting the lights up and stuff, and Neil was like, right, let's give them something to do while they're outside. I'm like, perfect. So I'm like, right, why don't we all split into groups, like maybe into 3 groups, let's say, and you can all kind of take turns in the kind of studios, if you're just photographing each other. Excuse me. And if they've got someone coming in as a model, then only the model and the photographer can be in the studio, just to not intimidate the model. So that's why I say just, because it makes sense. And they were like, aye, perfect. So once I got everything set up, there was another kind of point of stress where we couldn't find studio triggers, because there was one from the studio that I had to use. There was mine, so we had to find one more, and I couldn't find any batteries or anything. But I think I got like Gary's or something. I got someone's studio triggers. It must have been someone from the class or one of the lecturers. So I'm like, God bless. And well, we just left them to it. I would just go in from every now and then if they didn't have a model in, and I would go, how are we getting on? And then they would ask me how to do this, and they would just be photographing each other as well, and they were in that studio for hours. They were a good bunch of students. So I taught a few of them how to do like double exposure, because they really wanted to do that. That meant turning off the lights and putting it, like focusing on your subject first, and then setting it to manual, and then turning the lights off, and then doing the double exposure, or light painting even as well, because they were doing some of that. So I basically taught them how to do that, and it was like a really good kind of demonstration that I did in front of them, because it was also natural. It was just, they were just kind of like, how do you do this? And I'm like, watch. So I just got them all kind of like, I got maybe six, seven of them surrounded, and then I got them to, I can't believe I just said that, I got them to, watch and also try it. And you know what, it really worked, and they were in that studio for another like 3 odd hours. It was like pretty, it was like, I was like, these are some people with some work ethic. They had some, they were actually, they knew what they were doing. And I told Gary this, and they're like, yeah, you're right, they are like a good bunch, and you helping them and being more just motivated as them, that kind of helped them to get out of their shell a bit more, because there was like 1 or 2 that kind of had a bit of anxiety, I think. So, and they were absolutely fine, by the way, like during the shoots. So they were obviously comfortable, which is brilliant. Loved, that was a good day, because I got to run up and down, see what was going on, even talk to some of the models as well sometimes. Because it was family members, they just wanted to go in and out. But by the time they were all out, that was it. Like, they were just tending to their own selves. And I'm like, you can tidy up the studios as well if you really want to, but you can just leave whenever you just want. And they stayed for a long time. There was a few that did put the lights away and some that didn't. But again, they had the choice. It's, it was under my supervision, so I put the studios away as well. So that was my work placement. It was that for 2 days, and it was maybe like a lecture about like camera settings and stuff like that, because they were level 5s. They were like still at the very beginning of their kind of stage, and I kind of talked to them about my photographic journey as well. So that was another thing. So again, brilliant stuff. Really enjoyed it. Photojournalism stuff, I don't remember much about that. Tartan. So this was part of fashion again, and I got basically I tried to find anything on Vinted and all the charity shops, anything under a tenner, something tartan, whether it be a jacket, a scarf, a fucking blanket. Couldn't find anything. Except this. So I got Rab Bell, I got him to basically wear this jacket. And I had this kind of idea in mind, because I know the NCs, the level 6s, they were doing a project on album covers, and they had to replicate it to a T. So, you had one doing like System of a Down with the fucking hand, like, that, and having to light that perfectly with the shadows and stuff. And that was like, like, that's a good exercise to kind of be like, right, how was this album cover shot, and what was the lighting like, and how do you get that. I was Jeff Buckley as well for a bit, fit as fuck, and well, I thought, well, our class, we didn't get this at all. We didn't get this exercise, because we got like exercises to do. We got like things that aren't even part of the course, just things to try. So I thought, you know what, I'll blend this in with my fashion. So I got the Quiet Life album from Japan, the album with the fucking, let's have a look. See if I can find it on my little trash corner. It's all down here somewhere, in the trash corner. I don't want to see, this is very unflattering. Sorry now. There we go. Put you back. Oh dear. Oh. Basically this cover here. And you can see it's very blown out in the background. There's probably a lot of Photoshop like involved because it's very blue as well, and it's very like, yeah, you can see where they're kind of going for in that style. So I thought I'd go for that, and it went all right. I just got Rab to wear this jacket because I was like, I can't find anything. Even like, I was like, yeah, like I couldn't find anything. So I managed to kind of replicate that. I got like, it was in the style, it was blown out background, and I kind of tried, I actually did Photoshop where it was basically this, like it was like extremely blown out on the side, but it didn't look good. So I just thought I'd keep it simple, just keep a wee bit it, but you can kind of tell it's from that kind of album. So it was semi fun. It was alright, but it wasn't like, it was one of the more mid shoots out there, especially because it was like my jacket that I was wearing, like the iconic jacket that I wear every fucking day of life. So I was like, didn't get anything else. So it was just one of these shoots that was kind of been there. It was alright. But we got it handed in. April was good. April was actually somewhat busy. So we had, I had the last advertising to do, and it was another beer. It was Beck's. Okay. Beck's might never be on a piss takes because since Ryan is the one that bloody edits it and records it and all that, he will just bend it to his way because Beck's is considered one of my favourite beers of all time. Might not be my favourite anymore, but it's one of still. But everyone else despises it with a passion. Mainly because apparently it's just water, so it's not beer. That's kind of the argument that I'm hearing. But for me, it's in through one ear and out through the other because it's a lot of shite. It's very good. Now I made sure to make that apparent when I uploaded on my Josh White Photography Instagram page a photo of a bottle of Beck's Zero. Now the reason why it's a Beck's Zero is I just couldn't find Beck's, full stop. So I just had a pack of 4 Beck's Zeros. And they were tasty exact same. And I got more of a triumphant kind of shot where I was kind of going for the tenants where the camera was kind of aimed upwards, and I was taking photos from below, and then I did some nice editing that I learned from architecture. As a matter of fact, the architecture unit, I learned skills from there and I applied it here because obviously the glass was quite close anyway, so it could have easily been a building, and then got it kind of straightened up, all that stuff. Yeah, you get the idea. It was on a white background again, which I could have changed, but I don't know, I just didn't. So that's one thing that I probably put in my evaluations, that I could have just been a bit more interested with the backgrounds of these photos. But again, I was mainly more interested in the lighting and how that beer was presented, because I tried to present them in all sorts of different ways. When I started doing the beer shoots. So that's how I approached that shoot, and that was pretty. It turned out very, very good. And there's actually a video, a time lapse of me setting up the studio, so you'll be able to see how it was set up. On the Ayrshire College photographic department page on Instagram, so you'll be able to see that. And well, again, great shoot. Now I had the last fashion shoot, which was all about anything. It was called Anything Anywhere because you could do it anywhere with anyone. So I did Ryan, of course. I just got him to basically wear his he brought a couple of leather jackets actually with him. I wanted to make him look very badass, and they were all going to be black and white probably, and maybe some sunglasses, that you got from the Looky Man back in the day. So he had them on, and it was really good. I don't even remember how it was lit up. I don't really remember. I think there was a large soft box on one side, and then maybe some fill in on the other side. I think it's just as simple as that. But I just know the iconic kind of him flipping the light off with the, like, it's very close up headshot, but you can only see his hand on his reflection of his sunglasses because he's aiming it at the light. So that was a really good shoot. We talked about all sorts. We talked about Centre Parks. We talked about Bohemian Rhapsody for some reason. Talked about probably Father Ted. I mean, there was plenty. There's plenty of stuff at discussion, and we also talked about it. I talked about it on my page as well, actually. So let's have a look. Yeah, it turned out like a bit as successful as it did, as I thought it would be. Yeah, because we talked about a man called Pepsi. That was the guy that he bought the sunglasses from. The Boy Genius t-shirt he was wearing. He wanted to marry the light. We talked about Spider-Man 3 as well, and Bohemian Rhapsody. That was it. And Centre Parks. No, that was that. And yeah, it was badass as hell. Black. It was like black and white as well. I tried to get some kind of album cover kind of shoots because I had some photos of him kind of sitting in the chair, kind of very, very upwards angle, which kind of worked, It was also fun to edit as well. See, I like a good black and white image to edit. I really do. Speaking of Ryan, actually, this was ages ago. I totally forgot this was one of the photojournalism briefs. It was someone just doing nothing, like doing a passion that they like. So I got Ryan and Roselle. He was just filming sounds and stuff like that for, like, just to have sounds on his documentaries, what have you, just to have them. So I was just I went through all of the things that you could do except for taking photos. Taking photos of him just doing his thing. There was a lot of personality in those ones. It turned into a nice 10 image kind of series. All in black and white. They were all edited differently as well. Because obviously I couldn't just batch edit, paste the same ones, because the trees were very in the way. They were the black and white contrasted so much in so little kind of spaces that it looked like a right mess sometimes, but I think I managed. So that was a good shoot. Oh, we're getting there, mate. We're getting there. We're getting to the end. And I've still got lots to say, by the way. So, the exhibition. Now, the exhibition was pretty successful. I got some of my graded unit prints, got them framed. I got some of the Zulu prints. I got them out there. Got a set of business cards. It's on my phone right here. You'll probably have one. That everyone has one, probably. And a set of Gallus business cards, because you can't have one without the other, I suppose. So we had those, and I had a couple of portraits and a couple of event stuff as well. Now I can show a picture of the setup. That was it, and it was for a good week that we had it. The opening night was really good as well, because we were all fancily dressed up. Well, not fancily dressed. I'm not in suits, but I was dressed, nice, I would say. And yeah, I had a bottle of Carlsberg there. It was a good night. There was a lot of people that attended. And well, it was just kind of one last kind of hurrah, if you will. But there was also the end of your show, which was also kind of like a one last hurrah. Except it wasn't as good as last year. But I don't know who won the Ron McLean Award this year. It was someone in the HNC course, I know that. But yeah, very congratulations to that person. Forgot her name, but she won that award. And we went out afterwards, went to Smith's, went to Spoons. Fucking right, I know. It's Willie Wassels, because I separated from the kind of college group, because meeting the main group, the boys, that night as well. So it's kind of going between them. And it was, again, it worked very much. It was a good night. Again, stuff's happened, but obviously I'm still gonna stuff's happened since then, but I'm still gonna talk about it. Talk about these times, because they were part of this year, part of my life at the time, part of the course. because these podcasts aren't like, they're about the course, but they're also about just what I was up to. For example, I passed my test in April. Finally. Well, all the times to get a car was as soon as I finished college, and ended up getting a car in May time, which that spring / kind of summer up until July was fantastic because it was brilliant weather, of course. And I first got the car as well, so I was always going up and down to places. Went to Doonor a couple of times, went to Troon a couple of times, went just to the town just to get used to it, and it was a really good time. I think I got my car a couple of days before the end of your show. A couple of days before the end of your show, because I wasn't going to drive to the end of your show. I'm drinking, of course, so that's what we did. And well, what happened after that? Well, I feel like I should be saying more about the exhibition though, because it was kind of grand, and it was grand. It was just I was taking care of the place for we took it in kind of like a rota system. So each day, two or three people would be in just to kind of talk to people that came in and stuff. So me and Chrissy, alt format I think the page is kind of called on Instagram. Brilliant photography, brilliant photographer. So me and them were in the Green Exchange that day. And well, we had plenty of visitors in because I just told folk I'm coming in, come and see my stuff. So my mum came in. I had a couple of other folk, a couple of pals. Good chat. Just general folk as well. They're asking me, what one's mine and what one's is theirs, and I like that one. I like that one too. It's that communication that I really enjoyed. And I was talking with Raymond, of course. He was great, and Chrissy. And that was the last time I spoke to them so far. You might hear noise, because the family's in, so it's fine. I'm going to cut that in case they come in. So anyway, April happened, May happened, end of year show, night out, I suppose, got the car, and then I spent the summer just summering, I guess. May, June, I was still in Dino's and the escape room actually as well. Got to mention that I was in the escape room for a bit. I'm not in now, and I'm not in Dino's now because we'll get to it. June was a good month because Dublin. Full stop. When I said that there's a certain drink, a certain beer that's so good you could put up on Gallus because you don't have it as often. You don't have it a lot, but see when you do, it is divine. That's what Kilkenny is as well. I need to figure out which one I should put in Gallus as my Gallus. With Kilkenny, I had about 6 of them. I spent about 70 quid on Kilkenny in one night. Or 70 euros, I should say, in Dublin. But that was some good 2 nights. Because Guinness tour happened. I was taking photos on my phone, funnily enough. It was just photos on my phone. Because we were going out drinking all the time, during that day. We weren't really going back to the place. If I had a camera, a nice compact kind of wee mirrorless thing that I could just snap away with, that would be perfect. But obviously, sometimes you got to just make do with what you have in that situation. So I just took photos of my phone, and I really enjoyed it because there was a mix of street photography, architectural shots, just pictures of just me and my pals, and that's all you need at the end of the day. You just need you and your pals, and just a good time. Going to Dublin and Prague and Port Patrick, which happened the end of July. And well, I think because July was just kind of, I was doing things we were just it was that kind of time when me and Ryan or the group would just do stuff. So we went to see fucking Lucy Dacus, went to see Kaiser Chiefs. We did Dublin, of course. We went to the fucking theatre because why not? We went to, probably did an escape room in there. It's always just the stuff that you've got that one day, you've got a day out, day off, you've got that day, and well, the things that you do around it that makes the night. Because you've got the escape room, but there's the things that you do around it before and after. Maybe see a film, maybe go have a couple of drinks, maybe go to the tennis parade again, maybe do this, do that. That's what makes those nights fucking special. And let me see if I got time left. 6 minutes. No bad. So we did that, and then the great timeline gap of August 2025 happened. Now, see, if you asked me what did I get up to in August 2025, hand on my fucking soul, right? I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. I don't know what. No, kind of do know what happened, but weirdly enough, it must have been the point between Port Patrick and the 31st of August. So between maybe the 28th of July to the 31st of August. Don't remember what happened. I think I started going to the gym again. Like, I switched gyms. I went to the gym group, so I was driving there all the time. Basically, after Port Patrick, I blinked, and I was in Asda, working in Asda, bouldering full time. So that's kind of how that happened, the great timeline gap, where there was a giant shift, basically. There was this giant shift that happened of change. That's what I was talking about earlier with change. Because it all just happened so... It was very sudden, I would say. Because, well, I'm going to be completely honest, the breakup happened, right? And I was like, well, that's fine enough, that's fair. It's happened, it's... it is what it is. I'm never going to complain about it. But I suppose I was like, right, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what happened during that time, other than I applied for a job in Asda and I got it and I started working there. And then, because I really wanted more money, really did want more money. So I had a car to pay for as well, and I was going to the gym a lot more. And I was still taking photos, I was still going to the football and stuff like that. I suppose the more I talk about it, the more it kind of comes back. It must have been a time when I wasn't really, there wasn't any significant event like Dublin or Port Patrick or, Centre Parks. It was just that kind of limbo kind of month. We still met and went to the pub and stuff like that, but, it was just one of those months where nothing, much happened, and it was also it was just in my head a lot of the time, a lot. So again, it's fine now, guys, it's all good. Because we move on, and well, it's December now. Yeah, where did that go? Yeah, I don't really know what the past maybe 4 months, since basically the college year started, and I'm on my own. It's been fairly interesting, because it's been a mix of actually the Young Creatives podcast. Go watch it, because we talk about this in depth. Hold on, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do the thing, guys. I'm gonna do the thing. So what happened was, well, in the Young Creatives podcast, we talk about going things in depth, such as when we get older and we've got creative endeavours that we want to do, we're desperate to do it. We've got this drive, this motivation, this boosted dopamine to get things done, to get the momentum going. But you're also juggling the real world, a full-time job and social life and family and a car and those things that you've got to maintain. And that is life, and you've got to do it. And I'm never ever complain that you've got a job, because there's so many folk out there who would die for a job. So I'm so happy that I got a better job. Asda is a massive step up, funnily enough, from Dino's. So no offense to Dino's, by the way. Dino's is just one of those jobs where you do it when you're in college, you do it when you're in school. You don't really do it full time unless you're either extremely part time or you're a chef. So, or a student. That's the kind of way I kind of had it in mind. Or if you have more than 2 jobs. So, I packed that in very recently because I genuinely didn't have the time anymore to even do one shift a week. So, yeah, that's when the kind of rut maybe settled in, where I was just trying to grasp the idea that I'm not gonna have access to the studios again, and I'm on my own, you know. That's the kind of change I was kind of talking about earlier, where I was so worried after before leaving college about am I gonna keep this momentum? Because me and Gary went in deep, and very very in depth one day about what's next, and I was like, see if I go to uni or college to do the honours degree to finish it, it might end up, it all has the same ending. It's all got the same kind of conclusion after you leave. You stop. If you've got an opportunity and you go for it and it works, fantastic, amazing, the good ending, if you will. Obviously, the next chapter in your life begins, and for me, I kind of hit a wall where I was just working in Asda and going out and socialising and doing things with my friends and stuff like that, which I'm eternally grateful for. So grateful for everything that's happened and everything that I'm doing. But I was always just a bit frustrated because I would never seem to get myself up in the morning sometimes to spend that free time that I've got to go and shoot something, do something creative, and I was just it was pretty frustrating as well. So that's why I was I guess I must have stopped for a wee while, because I thought about it every single day. Procrastination, I suppose. And this is when it kind of clicked for me. Momentum, you need momentum, and a wee bit of discipline. You need momentum, definitely. It's just hard to get on that the beginning stage, where you're getting the ball rolling, and then once you go from there, that's when you go down the hill. Not downhill as in you're going downhill as in you gain momentum running down a hill, and you're walking, and then you just can't stop after that. That's kind of what that's usually what works for me. So that's kind of what I tried. Like a week or two ago, I shot another football game after not being able to for a wee bit. I just got this. I had to have the Saturday off, and I was like, I need to shoot something, or I'll just be I'll not be happy with myself. So, Witless Vicks versus West Kilbride, very good game, 6-0 to us, brilliant game, and there was some brilliant photos as well. That was a really good shoot, and I was so just I was like, yeah, I feel like I can just conquer everything tomorrow, sure I'm not got anything planned tomorrow, but if if something happened, I could just it'd be easier. That's the momentum kicking in. That's why I just kind of learned with I guess that's the kind of thing that you should keep an eye on. Always keep in mind. If you want to do something creatively, always do something that can build the momentum. Because again, me and Gary were talking about it. If you leave college now, or if you leave uni 2 years later, you're still going to need to have that skill building momentum, and then you've got it for there. And so far, it seems to be going pretty well now. I've done a couple of football shoots over the past couple of weeks, and I've got an opportunity. I've got a couple of opportunities actually coming in. I have someone who owns a tattoo studio who wants me to take photos of them. I've got a photographer who's keen on basically having me, I don't know work for him, I suppose, but it's coming, guys, it's coming. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because that's another thing. Take it as it comes. Honestly, it's fuck it. Just take it as it comes. That's the advice that you give. You give this advice to folk on the bloody checkouts in Asda. It gets as deep as that. I'm like, aye, just take it as it comes, and that's exactly it, pal. You take it as it comes. That's what I've been doing. It worked. That's what they say. So, taking it as it comes and just because what's for you will get by, I suppose. If something was for me and then it wasn't, and it went by me, it's happened. There's been things that were for me at the time, maybe last year, and they didn't go by me, but obviously they may come to an end. So that was, again, wow, I got so deep. I got so deep. Again, I sound like depressed now when I'm just getting really deep, like I always do. But that's another thing, like the graduation. Fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, I got a shift swapped. Went to the graduation. There was like 5 or 6, 7 folk that showed up, and I got my little certificate, which I have right here. That's an HND, and I wore the gown and everything. It was a really fun morning. Sure, I didn't really talk to the classmates, but yeah, there we are. Graduation. I'm gonna need to get that framed. But I do have the diploma, and I've always got it behind me, and I'm always going to do it. I'm always going to take photos. I'm always going to shoot. I'm always going to have ideas. I'm always going to find ways to just keep the momentum going. Like, even this, what I'm doing right now, talking to this camera, I'm actually having a lot of fun talking to this camera. And, like the podcast is that chance. Like, the podcast builds momentum. And if I'm doing it myself, it also builds momentum. Like, even with, like, if I'm doing projects with Ryan, it builds momentum. So I think that's just the kind of takeaway for this, And I'm just, the past 2 years have been truly something. I suppose that was like season 1 of the journey, And I met a lot of people, I've remained friends with a lot of people. A lot of people came and went. That's one thing. I'm grateful for every fucking one of them. Every one of them. Like, I hope that's kind of emphasised that, like, if anyone's stuck around to the end, that's just the kind of thing. Like, I've met lots and lots of people, and I've done lots and lots of things, and I've learnt lots and lots of things. And I'm by no means, I'm not the same person as I was 2 years ago. Because, well, I'm just, even people that I might have had slight bitterness with, or, folk I might have, like, things like that. It's all in the past now. It happens, it's life, it's, things come and go, things stay the same, things might not. That's a kind of general end of year message, because this year is very different, 2 halves, if you will, because now I'm at a kind of stage where I'm not like a millionaire by no means, but I'm definitely making more money than I would have at the start of this year. And I've got a car. I love the fact that I've got a motor. I've still got my pals. Always will. Always have and always fucking will. And I've got things coming up. So, like, in terms of photography. So that was the kind of the epilogue kind of story, just about like my thoughts after being in college for ages, and maybe like, as experiencing the Young Creatives podcast, like, build momentum, be authentic as well. Like, that's another thing. Be yourself, but like, be authentic. Just have fun. That's it. There's probably gonna be so many things that if I stop recording, I'm gonna end up being like, oh, I should have said that. Really should have said that. But they will all be said. That this is what the podcast is all about. It's all a time capsule of everyone's, like, me, Ryan, Aaron, like the history, Callum, like all of our conversations is probably like, it's such a giant time capsule to look back on and being like, we talked about this back in the day. And it's on video. This is why I love doing it. I love doing the podcast. I love trying the new things, like filming a film. We've got films as well coming up. We've got a couple of we've got fucking Super Ned coming up. Well, once we get to do it, of course, that might not come for a while, but it will. Same with Zulu. Zulu will come. It's just taking its time. It's very much taking its time, and I'm just taking it as it goes. I'm not gonna I'm definitely bettering myself. Fuck the procrastination. Get the momentum going. Get up in the morning. Do something. keep yourself busy. Do not go in that bed. Do not even lie in there when you come home from work, because you will fall asleep. Like you come home from work, you crash out. Don't do that. I don't even touch the bed now. I just do something, whether it's on the laptop or if I'm outside, if I'm socialising. That's how you do it. That's how you get the momentum going. How long have I been talking? No, I've got 8 minutes left. This will probably be the last recording before I end this fucking thing. Again, there's probably some more things about the course I should have said, or I could have said, but generally the HND course was fucking, just being in Ayrshire College in general, full stop. Like, it was a brilliant 2 years where I just got to make loads of pals. I got to meet so many folk. I got to learn loads of stuff. My lecturers are absolutely brilliant. I'll still talk to them to this day. Like, that's one thing I'm never losing contact with these folk. And well, again, things have definitely changed, but that's the kind of end of year reminiscing that I like today. And we're probably gonna have this conversation, throughout the month as well, like just in person. But since I'm in front of a camera, it's like sometimes it's, I'm not camera shy, but sometimes there's things that I just forget to mention or I don't mention. And that's pretty much the end of it, I suppose. Just the story of the HND Photography, Ayrshire College. I'm so grateful again. Thank you all so much for watching the podcast, but also like to the lecturers, to my classmates, all the folk that I met, the folk that I'm still pals with. Just appreciate it all, because I've now found like a sort of system routine that works, and it's only going to get better for you. So season 2 or something, I don't know, season 2 we'll call it, of the journey. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the pub.